Hello everyone, this is Carla and welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So for this Thursday, I will be using the newly retired Lighting the Way bundle. This has the Lighting the Way photopolymer stamp set. You have lightning bugs. That's what I've known them to be. That's what I've called them. That's what we call them in New York. What we call them, well, at least what I call them down here in Tennessee. They're also called fireflies. I guess it depends on what area of the world that you're in, if you have these, whether you call them fireflies or lightning bugs. So this stamp set is kind of geared around that theme. So you have some greenery, you have your lightning bugs, and then you have these spots that you can use for the glow from their butts, basically. Then there's the coordinating Lighting the Way set of dies. So you do have the dies that will cut out the greenery and the stamped lightning bugs. Then you have a standalone die to cut out this lantern, and then the pieces to actually build a larger lightning bug. And then you have 3 of the same size dies that give you a more detailed lightning bug. So let me get started with pulling in the pieces that I'll be using for my first card. Now, I'm a little behind here. Surprise, surprise. So typically I have all of my measurements and everything already printed out. But if you have been, so this is Thursday, June 6th, and usually on my Throwback Thursday videos, I try to have them already recorded and edited and uploaded and scheduled to post at 5 a.m. on Thursday as well. That didn't exactly happen. Sometimes, the ideas come really quickly, and sometimes it takes a little bit to get the ideas. So the cards are basically cased off of other cards that I've seen. So the first card that I'm going to be making was actually in the catalog. So I'm kind of doing my little take on this card. So to start off, I have a piece of Lost Lagoon. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of vellum. So let me get the package of that vellum so I can tell you what one that is. Now, with our last catalog, all the vellum that Stampin' Up! Carried, they actually retired it. So this one was the Vellum Basics 12 by 12 Specialty Designer Series paper. And you had 2 sheets each, and this one has like a leaf pattern, and I believe there was one other patterns that were in here were dots and also stripes as well. So I am using a piece of the leaf pattern one, and this measures, I got my ruler. Like I said, I didn't get my little write-up with all my measurements on it done, so we're kind of winging this as we go. So this measures 4.25 by 2.75. Okay, and then I have a scrap of, I believe this is the distressed gold paper. This too also recently retired. I also have a scrap strip piece. This measures, let's see, this is like 4.5 by 3/4, and I just cut it longer. We will be trimming that down just a little bit. And then I have a scrap piece of Berry Burst. So let me get started by folding and burnishing my card base. Okay, put that aside. And then let's see, bring in my pieces here. So on my dies, I am going to take this lantern and I'm going to cut out from the distressed, I'm going to cut one out of the distressed gold paper. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to do all of my die cutting at the same time. And then with the piece of the berry burst, I am going to cut out, there are 3 of these lightning bug dies. Let me pull them out, kind of stuck in the packaging here. Okay, so I'm going to cut these 3 out from this strip right here. Then on this piece of bubble bath, let me bring in the stamp that says, "Thanks for lighting the way." So it's this long one right here. And let me get my block for it. Okay, and then the ink that I am using for this particular project is Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And I'm also going to be using the dark Lemon Lolly Stampin' Blend. This is our alcohol markers. So I'm going to bring my Pretty Peacock ink. I'm going to ink up my greeting. And I'm going to stamp that right in the middle like so. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in the stamps that have these larger leaf images in them. So we got this one right here. And we got this one. And this one. Okay. And then let me bring in, let's set that aside. Let me bring in my card base. And I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper to put underneath my card. Now let me bring in the blocks for these. Put these on here. Should have done this, of course, before I started. Kind of gives you an idea that just kind of got so much stuff going on and trying to get things done. Because tomorrow is my Friday night live and I'll be featuring the let me see, where's my other block? I'll be featuring Under the Moon stamp set. So I've been, trying to work out those projects and I actually have 2 of them done and I still got 1 more to go. And I got to get that all done for tomorrow night. So yeah, I'm a little behind on things, so I'm trying. So I'm just going to stamp this kind of randomly down on the bottom here of my card base. And I'm going to bring in this one and kind of fill this one in. And then I need a block now for this one. And I have this really large block, so it's a little crazy. I'm just going to kind of put that in there, like so. Now let me close this up and let me clean off these stamps because I need to stamp them again, but then this time I'm stamping them in the Pretty Peacock ink. Oh, too much ink there on the block. Okay. And bring this in. And I'm going to go over what I just did using this darker color. Okay, and then we got this one. Like so, and then we got one more. There, and we got one more right there. So it looks a little crazy, but part of this is going to be covered up by our vellum, so you're not going to see part of it. So let me just quickly get these cleaned off so I don't get ink from them all over everything. Clean this one up. Getting a little aggressive with inking these up was getting the ink on the blocks. We don't want to do that. We don't want to risk getting that ink on our card. So let me go and put these aside so they're out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece of vellum and I am going to take a couple of glue dots. So I have some small glue dots here, and these were from a former paper pumpkin kit, and I'm going to add one to either corner here. Trying to do this so you don't really see any adhesive through the vellum, so you can kind of see it a little bit. I mean, that's the paper backings are going to come off on that, but we're going to place this over this like so. And I'm going to actually take one more and I'm going to kind of put that in the middle. We will be covering that up so you wouldn't be seeing that one. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of set that aside. For this piece right here, I'm going to trim the ends, and I'm going to do that at an angle. And then we're going to do this side as well. Okay, set that aside. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready to go ahead and die cut my pieces, and I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces here. So I am going to take this piece right here and I'm going to remove these paper backings from these glue dots. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this over right about here. So it's going to go flush from the bottom edge up to the top there. So you really can't see those glue dots. Okay, and then I'm going to take my lantern and let me go get some more dimensionals. I kind of went through my stash of my larger ones that I have, so let me get another sheet. Okay, I'm going to place kind of like two up at the top here. So, and then we'll add a few to the bottom. I'm not going to worry about the two sides. And then on these little lightning bugs, I'm going to add my mini white dimensionals. Add one to the back of each of these. Like so. And then we kind of move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, and then on this piece here, I'm going to add two dimensionals on the one end, like so. And then I'm going to bring in my seal. I'm going to add some, I'm going to try to add some. Bring in my silicone craft sheet and add some on that end. Okay, now let me remove, let's see, let me kind of place these down. So I want to place my lantern where I want it. And then what I want to do is with my my dark lemon lolly, I want to add the glow for the lantern. See if that's enough. Actually, I want to add more up here. Like so. And let's let that dry a little bit. Okay, now let me remove the paper backings. In the stamp set, it has those two larger dots, and on my sample card I did use the lemon lolly ink, and I inked that up and I stamped it numerous times on the vellum, and it was just because there was so much ink, it was taking a long time to dry. So I decided to go with my Stampin' blend, since that dries a little bit quicker. So I'm going to place that down like so. And then for my greeting, I'm going to take off these paper backings. And I am going to place that. Let's see, kind of do this a bit straight here. So I'm going to add that right there. And then I want to determine where I'm going to put these other lightning bugs, so that way I can add my Stampin' blend to that. So bring this in, and I'm going to add this one here, so I'm going to add some of that there, and then I'm going to have another one like right over here, so I'm going to color one there, and then for this one I'm going to add this one right here. Okay. We're done with that, so let's dry this. What's nice being that it is an alcohol marker, it does dry fairly quickly. Okay, so now let me remove these paper backings. I'm going to place my lightning bugs right over those dots. And this one, make sure that we're placing them the right way up. And then we got our last one here. Okay, and that one's not too high up. And then for my embellishments, I have our rhinestone basic jewels. And let me got a sheet with some of them on there. And I got my take your pick tool. And I'm going to add one like right over here. And then, let's see, got another one, a place over here, and then one more. Let's see, I'm going to put that one right over there. Okay, so there is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, I have a piece of vellum. Don't need that. Oh yeah, I do need that. Wow, I'm not doing so good here, guys. I apologize in advance. Okay, so I have a piece of soft sea foam. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have another piece of soft sea foam. This one measures 5 by 4. And then I have another scrap piece of soft sea foam that I'll stamp and die cut my pieces off of that. And then I have a scrap of basic white, basic black, lemon lolly, and our regular vellum. This one doesn't have any design in it. It's just our plain vellum cardstock. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. And I'll set that aside. And then on this larger piece here, now let me make sure I do the right one. Okay, so this is the piece. This is the piece I need for my base. So it's 5.25 by 4. This is the piece that's going to be our layer on top of our card base. And then this piece here is our scrap. So for this one, I'm going to stamp my 3 leaf images again. This time I'll be using the Pear Pizzazz ink. And I'm going to stamp one of each of these. Make sure I ink it all up. And let's get this one. And I'll stamp this one right here. And then we get our larger one here. And I'll stamp that one right there. Okay, and then, like I mentioned, there are coordinating dies that go to this. So I'll set this aside. Again, we're going to be doing all of our die cutting, and actually we're going to be punching too. So I'm going to set that aside and do all that. So now on this scrap of the black, I have the lightning bug top part of the body. So I'll be die cutting that out of that. And then I have So this is the lower part of my lightning bug. So the butt of my lightning bug, that will be die cut out of the lemon lolly. And then out of this piece of vellum, there is a set of wings. So I'll set that aside. On this piece here, I'm going to stamp my greeting, and I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And the greeting that I'm going to be stamping says, "You are all kinds of wonderful." So I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp that right in the middle. Like so. And then I'm going to bring in my 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And I'm going to punch this out really quick. Like so. So we'll set that aside. And then for this piece right here, I'm going to stamp my leaf images again. So let me see. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the last card. I'm going to take these images and I'm going to randomly stamp them on the back here. And then I want to do a couple stamped off. Okay, that's that one. And then let me bring in this one. Stamp this one. Okay, and then this one too, we're going to stamp off. I know I got ink right on the corner of this block, so I don't want to rock this and get that ink all over the place. Okay, and then we got our final leaf. I'll kind of fill that in. We'll stamp off. And let's do one more of these, like right there. And then there is a smaller grouping of some little leaves. And I'm just going to stamp some of these on the bottom. Just go across. I'm not going to worry about stamping off on this. So the whole idea is just to really fill in the bottom part here. Okay, so we're done with that. And then I'm going to bring in my smoky slate ink. And then there's a stamp in there that just kind of like looks like this, I don't know if you want to call it like fairy dust or whatever, but this is what I'm going to ink up in my smoky slate. And then I'm going to stamp this kind of like down somewhat in the greenery and then coming up. Okay, so that is all of our stamping. So let me move this all aside and out of the way. So there is our background. So right now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to die cut all of these pieces, and I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces. So I have my card base, and then I have my layer for the top. So I'm going to put some adhesive on that. And I'm going to add this right on top here. And then I'm going to bring in my liquid glue and these leaf pieces. And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue on the back of these. And I'm going to add this one right over here. And got this one. Okay, and then that one will kind of go up here. And then this one, I'm going to move that one right over here like so. So it all kind of blends in, but that's okay. Okay, so we're done with the glue because I'm going to use glue dots. Now I'm going to assemble my lightning bug here. So on the back of this, let me get my glue dots. And I got my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to add one up here on the top near its head. And then one further down on the body. And we'll remove these paper backings. And then the butt part of my lightning bug. Now there's a back side when you die cut, and then there's the top part. I want to make sure that my top part is facing down when I put this on here. I'm just going to place that on there like so. And kind of just line it up. And it fits perfectly like so. And then I'm going to take another glue dot, and on the wings, I want to make sure that my wings are facing the right way. Now I've just got to pick it up. So I want to take my glue dot and put it on the top side. There is like a little round area right there at the top of the wings. And then I'm going to place this right over the top of the head like so. And there is our completed lightning bug. It's actually bigger than what an actual lightning bug looks like, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take these wings and I'm just going to bend them up. I'm just going to add a little bit of dimension to that. And then I want to bring in my mini dimensionals. And I'm going to add 2 to the back of this. Like so. And let's remove these paper backings. I did get that one. Okay, I'm going to pull up the wings a little bit. And then I'm going to add this right here over the end of that. I want to say fairy dust. I want to call it fairy dust, but it's probably got another name, but we'll call it fairy dust. And then I'm going to bring in my rhinestone basic jewels, and I'm going to add a few of these Oops, actually before I do that, I'm going to bring in my greeting and my dimensionals. Let me put this on first, and then I will add I'll add my rhinestones after that. Okay, I'm going to add this. Make sure my card's straight. I'm going to add that right there, and now I'll add my rhinestones. Add one there, one up here, and then one more right over here. Okay, so there is our second card. So let me bring in the first card that we made. So here is our first one where we use the lantern, and we also die cut 3 little detailed lightning bugs on this one. This one was cased out of the catalog from, let's see, this was out of it was either in the annual catalog that just retired, or it was in the mini catalog prior to that. I think it was January to June or January to April, and it had carried over. So this had recently retired with our last annual catalog. And then this one here, it's kind of a case off of a card that Erica Serwin had done. The difference is with hers, she kind of stamped this stuff down on the bottom here, and she used a different greeting. But what she did with hers, she added some of those smaller lightning bugs, and she did that in Vellum. And she actually created it as a light up card. So like when you pressed on the one end of the greeting, those little lightning bugs, they had lit up. So yet there is a way for doing light up cards. I haven't done them before, but this is kind of like a simplified version of a case off of Erica Serwin's card. So I thank you for joining me for this episode of Throwback Thursday. And again, I apologize that it's posting a little bit later. I am aiming that this will be posted on Thursday, June 6th. It'll be before midnight. So I thank you for joining me as I made these projects. If you like the projects and you like this video, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me in getting my videos out there and it getting viewed, and it helps build my channel, and it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business. So everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. Everyone, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.